Welcome to the KYC series, Know Your Congregation, on the Gauranga Das channel. Today we're gonna interview a very special family whom I know since last 18 years, and they have given up their very successful corporate life in USA, relocated back to India, and they're growing two nice children, two boys, in the most Vedic way possible, and we're gonna learn from them how the experience is.
Hare Krishna, Gauranga Prabhu. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our experience, especially in trying to bring up our kids and trying to give them full Krishna consciousness. So we are hoping that whatever our experiences so far, we are still on the way, journey. But whatever we have learned and we are sharing with all of you, we are hoping it will help, some of you, to mold your kids, the education basically, based on Krishna consciousness. So as Prabhuji mentioned, we were in US for almost 20 years. We both went to do our masters, and we had a successful jobs, and we were happily settled, and we had our home, and whatever the material benefits like home, cars, everything we had, and we didn't have to come back to India, but so our kids were born in 2013 May, and I still remember Gauranga Prabhu helped us even during that time, taking us to the hospital, bringing back us, because we had twins, so it was not a normal kind of delivery. We had to stay 2 days in the hospital. So Prabhuji was very helpful, helping us in transporting us to hospital, bringing back. So here is where our journey starts. So our Guru Maharaj, we are disciples of His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj. So when they were born, he gave them the names. The first one who comes out will be Maharati Das, and the second one who comes out will be Narasimha Krishna Das. So he gave the names for our boys, and also he gave them the blessing, saying they will become a good scholars, good preachers, and also the good like soldiers in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's army. Yeah, that was good. We were very happy. We are settled. And whatever at home, my wife Syamala Dasi, she used to work for Microsoft, so she quit her job. So as a twins, we need more time. Also the basics of Krishna consciousness, starting from giving them prasadam, playing Krishna conscious games with them, chanting with them, like that. Whatever we wanted to spend more quality time, Krishna consciousness time with kids. So she quit her job, and then we started introspection. It starts right with when you have a kids. It's like a major turning point for everybody. We have to think how to make, as Prabhupada has said many times, we have been through so many lifetimes. Everybody has been through so many lifetimes, but just give this one life for Krishna consciousness. Try one life to become Krishna conscious. And our Guru Maharaj also gave the same instruction, make them good scholars, good preachers, and soldiers in Chaitanya Prabhu's army. So then our introspection, took us like a lot of deep thinking and planning. So if they have to make a good scholars, so then how can we make them scholars? First thing, if you have to become a scholar, is generally at least to learn basic Sanskrit. That's where kind of we are getting into their educational aspect, how to train them in make them good scholars. Of course, when they turned 5 years, my wife she started teaching them alphabets, reading, little bit of reading. So they were at 5, around 6 years, they were very comfortable with writing, little reading. They were okay with it. And we used to also, in meantime, we moved to when they were 3 years, we moved to Houston, because they had a devotee school there. So that was good, the foundation, as a devotee school, all the programs, some of the morning programs, all the festivals, everything, they encompassed all the our Krishna consciousness, basics of Krishna consciousness into their education. So they attended, I think, pre-K 3, pre-K 4, and first standard. So they were turning 7. So they had a good foundation of English and the Sanskrit. They were okay, they were able to read, write, as I mentioned. So when they were about to turn 7, then we thought, wow, to make really scholars in our scriptures, in our Vedic treasure. So they have to really become we have to give them the strong foundation in Sanskrit. And otherwise, we will not be able to fulfill our Guru Maharaj's instruction. At least we want to try to fulfill his instruction. So then we both, we had the 2 years of, from 5 years to 7, we had the 2 years of time to plan out. Okay, we are going to move back. We decided, we'll go to Mayapur because that's the only place where we have our ISKCON Gurukula, like a traditional Gurukula. So we decided the place, and financially also we planned such a way that, we don't have to come back to US to earn some money again, like we planned all that, whatever savings we had, we planned enough. Yeah, when they were about to turn 7, yeah, we moved to Mayapur. And then, yeah, for 4 months we tried, the education system in the Gurukula education. So then, yeah, we kind of contacted one of our friend who is into astrology. After reading the birth chart, our kids, myself and my wife, reading the birth chart, so he gave an option, like seems like she is a very good teacher, and what I have seen, that's true. She's more into education and she loves to teach kids. So then, as Prabhuji suggested, we thought, we should try the homeschooling. And she's a qualified teacher. She can teach Bhagavad Gita, even English based on the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. She can start all those things. And mainly focusing on our chanting, the morning program, the Kirtan. We'll start with that. So yeah, so we moved back to my home place. That's in Bangalore. That's where I am from. And we started homeschooling. And from that point, their education is under her in charge, my wife's under her in charge. And I think she can give more details about that, because she took charge of it. And from there, we are happy what they are going through, their learning cycle. It's very good. At least I'm very happy. And I think she can share more information about the structure and what they will do in future.
There were like 2 fundamental things as we were thinking of raising the kids. Like, one is growing them in a positive, loving, Krishna conscious environment. So from the childhood, they get a positive taste for the practices of Krishna consciousness. So hopefully they will grow up and love to be full-fledged devotee. That was one aspect. And the other aspect is education. Like, as normally any parents would desire, they would want their kids to be properly educated so that they have a key role to play in the society to offer. Now, with respect to education, okay, we ourselves have studied normal, traditional, not traditional actually, typical academic line of, being software engineers. We both, as Prabhu mentioned, like we both went to US to do our masters in computer science. Then we ended up with the jobs. So then we started reflecting, do we have a choice for the kids to give a different route for their education in such a way that what they do for their life and what they do for their living is same. So for example, we have studied engineering for so many 20 years, 30 years to have that, but then we do something else to make money for our living. But then our heart, our life is, how do I devote my time to Krishna more? How do I read more Bhagavatam? How do I advance in Krishna consciousness? So it seems like we have kind of 2 different lives we have to balance. And that's obviously is a challenge, right? So we were thinking, is there a better option we could offer as a parents to our kids where they don't have to do this dichotomy, so to speak? So anyway, luckily, because their chart also aligns that, they are inclined to Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is a key element for our Sampradaya, because all our Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is in Sanskrit. So if we make their education career path based on Sanskrit, then hopefully we will achieve this integration. So that was also aspect, and then in line with that, if we can give Krishna conscious positive environment, then both goals will be satisfied. So that were the main aspects as we went into homeschooling. How do we give them both of them together? So then we started doing some kirtans at home and some amount of chanting which kids can take up. Along with that is the spiritual aspect. Along with that, parallelly I was teaching them some Bhagavad Gita, and then also there were Sanskrit lessons they were taking. Anyway, so that also, after that we had to move to a different place called Mathur, where we stayed for a year because it is considered a Sanskrit village. So as Prabhu mentioned, initially I started teaching them reading, writing in alphabet. But actually I myself didn't have Sanskrit background, so I was learning with them, even though maybe a little ahead of them, just so that I can teach them. But then we were noticing they were going way ahead of even the way I could learn. So then we felt they need a qualified teachers who have studied Sanskrit thoroughly from childhood, who can teach them, and I could be a supplemental person to help them with the homework if they need, like that. So then that's the choice we made when we moved to Mathur, where they went through a 1-year program where we completed a 7th grade level exam in Sanskrit called Prathama exam, organized by Karnataka Sanskrit University. So they finished that, and parallelly I was also, my desire for Sanskrit also increased, so I also finished a exam called Kavya in Karnataka Sanskrit University that covers the basic grammar elements, so that I thought I will be little ahead of them so that I can help them in their journey in the Sanskrit path. Then after that, the teacher who took charge of training them in their education, he got a job in Central Sanskrit University in Sringeri, and he moved as assistant professor there. So he encouraged us, if you really want me to help you with your kids' education, if you are open, like, why don't you move with me? So that's what we did. I think since past 4-5 months we are in Sringeri now. This is actually in all of our journey, this is the best place we could be because kids are almost having like 6-7 hours of Sanskrit lessons where the teachers come to our home and teach. So we are kind of homeschooling, but not that everything I teach or my husband teaches. So we are like overseeing their schedule, like what lessons they need to learn in order to have that strong Sanskrit background, what foundational elements like learning Sutrapata, Dhatupata, Amarakosha, and speaking conversational Sanskrit, as well as writing the elements, writing the exams, so that they have a systematic roadmap in Sanskrit. So all these things are covered, well arranged for us in this particular area, and along with that I got the opportunity that in order to, again with the same mood that I could help the kids further in their education, I started enrolled in MA in a Sanskrit program. Actually I just finished first semester exams just yesterday, and that is also well nourishing for me as well, because I am really loving, and actually it's a blessing. I wouldn't have come through myself this journey if it hadn't been that my motto was to help our kids. So that was actually the key takeaway I would suggest for all the people who feel inspired in our journey, is that if we be true to our duties, like as parents, primary duties for us, especially if we have kids, is to nourish the kids in all aspects, physically, mentally, emotionally, and especially being devotees, our extra edge we need to cover is spiritually as well, because somehow by Krishna's mercy we got the knowledge. So it's our responsibility how we pass it, that spiritual nourishment to our kids. So we need to take that full responsibility actually. Actually Bhagavatam says, one should not become a father, one should not become a mother, one should not become a teacher unless one can deliver their dependence. And the children are fully dependent on us. No mother can refuse this statement, right? So let's prioritize on how we can give them the spiritual nourishment as well. Of course, the parents are fully charged in their temples. They want to do services, they want to do preaching, they want to do Bhagavad Gita, everything, like they want to do Bhakti Vikshas. Actually, while we are raising the kids, we also did all of that. But never lose sight of your primary duty, because nobody outside recognizes this. Nobody gives us a degree or certificate that you are raising your child to be Krishna conscious devotee, but in your heart you are satisfied with your services. That yes, you did your best in giving a honest and loving environment for the child, and the child, when he grows up and he or she grows up and lovingly accepts the process, that's the best preaching you have done actually. You saved one child, and that child, if from the childhood, if he has learned how much he can assimilate the process, that how big a preacher he could be, and he would not have wasted any time in doing other things, and he would love okay, thank you my mother, father, that you saved my life. Hopefully, we are hoping our kids would say that one day. Even otherwise, we have given them the at a foundational stage, we have given them the loving atmosphere for Krishna consciousness. So when they turn at 16 years, when they have a choice to choose their life, if they feel like they have to explore the material nature, material world, what's going on out there, yes, please let them go. But because they will always reflect back in that loving environment and exchanges Krishna consciousness they had, and that will give them the strength, and always they will return back to home, on the way back home, back to Godhead. So I would just urge all the parents, or all the would-be parents also, because actually having children doesn't start, the journey starts even before marriage. Luckily, hopefully we didn't, or unfortunately we didn't have that knowledge earlier. But the consciousness of the parents at the time of conception determines the child which gets attracted to the womb of the mother. So it is said that the 1 year before the pregnancy is very crucial. What the mother accepts within herself, what she hears, what she eats, and whom she associates with, and what blessings she is going to collect. That determines the soul which is going to be attracted to the womb. And after that, the journey starts. How the baby is nourished with the prasadam, and all the Krishna conscious environment around the mother, and loving atmosphere, everything. So this is very, very crucial, especially if we are so sincere to surrender our lives to help the Prabhupada's mission. And if we take as Grihasthas, our main service is to bring forth the future generation so that they can also assist Srila Prabhupada's mission, then we should take this as a full responsibility to first of all commit ourselves to bring forth good children and nourish them all through until it is done.
So the next question is, what brought you to Hare Krishna? What brought you to Bhakti Parampara? Can you please share some light on that?
Yes, Prabhu, sure, yeah. As most of you would have come to Krishna consciousness, at least what I have seen is, generally it's through Prabhupada books. So when I was a student, when I was doing my masters in San Jose State University, it's in California. So one of the, not directly to me, one of the, I think, book distributors would have given the Bhagavad Gita to one of my roommates. So when I was traveling from San Jose to Cincinnati, I was very much interested in sports cars and all, race cars and all. So I wanted to read something more different than the car magazine. So I found this Bhagavad Gita. It's on the bookshelf right in my room. Not Bhagavad Gita, actually it's Krishna book. I saw the Krishna book, and I was a little bit curious. I've seen Ramayana, Mahabharata in the TV. I know the serials which used to come, but I have not specifically read or seen something about Krishna. So I thought maybe it's I should change the from car to, at least on the flight, I think it was 4 or 5 hours flight. So I wanted to read that book. So I took the Krishna book, and I don't even remember what happened, but I started reading after it took off, the flight took off, and by the time it landed 4 or 5 hours, I was like no break. I was just reading like a novel. After that, I continued reading. The amazing thing about Krishna book is the Prabhupada, what Prabhupada has done is, it's story about, of course, the 10th canto, the Krishna's childhood pastimes, all that. But Prabhupada has put the philosophy with the story. So it's a story, then Prabhupada emphasizes on the philosophy. There is a lot of philosophy in that. And it's in a story kind of format. So it's easy to assimilate with the story, with philosophy. So by that time I was like, there was a transformation. Definitely that 4-hour or 5-hour flight and the Krishna book, reading the book, there was a transformation. I was, deep thought process, how come our own culture, our, where we are brought up, India, right, the where we were born and brought up, the parents or nobody gave us all this philosophy, the culture, nobody explained, but Prabhupada put it in that book so clearly, very clear, the philosophy. So that was a turning point. From that time on, at the end of the book, Prabhupada mentions the other books he has written. So I took a list of that, went to the closer to the center, ISKCON center. I bought all that books and I started reading Bhagavad Gita just on my own. I never knew any devotee, no association, nothing. Just by book I started reading. Then after that I started looking for the association. That's where the full-time kind of association, I got it in Seattle. When I moved for my job to Seattle, I found a closer center, and that's where my Krishna consciousness grew with the services, with the blessings from Marivilas Prabhu, the current temple president in Seattle. The Prabhuji kind of guided us with the service, with reading, managing how to balance life, and from there on, so looking back, so it's going on, the journey.
Thank you, Prabhu. I still remember you introducing me to the classes of His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj.
Yes.
In your car when we were carpooling to office.
Yes, I remember that.
And that's my life-changing experience. So that was the first Hare Krishna class I heard.
Yeah.
And that was the first Radhana Swami Maharaj's class I heard. Yeah. And that class was about Narad Muni in search of pure devotee.
Yes. Finding the
right. And that class covers the whole philosophy.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a series of classes. Yeah. So yes, thank you. Thank you, Madhava Gauranga Prabhu. Yes, Syamala Mataji.
So as Prabhu mentioned, I also went to US to do my masters. I'm the eldest daughter in my family. So my dad, he always had a desire to go to the US, but he couldn't go. So as it's natural, parents try to fulfill their desires to their children. So he said, Nana, you are very intelligent, why don't you try? So even before so-called, it's a taboo, right, to send a girl all alone to the US. So even then, my dad encouraged me. It's like, okay, you can go ahead and go. So I came for my masters. I did my masters with a 4.0 GPA in Purdue University. Successfully landed job in Microsoft and ended up in Seattle. But that's when actually I felt, I didn't have any other goal in my life. So far, always my dad set up a goal for me, he said, okay, now you need to get gold medal in engineering. Now you need to get gold medal in your masters. Now, like that, right? So I always had something to look up to, which helped me disciplined and focused, be serious about my studies. So I couldn't get distracted even in my masters in Purdue, where no parents are around, but I was still the most studious student, focused with my studies, and I was able to do that. But then that's when actually, Prabhupada says the main problem with the human population is the lack of ultimate goal of life. That's what he said actually. Later when I came to Krishna consciousness, I could reflect what was going on. Anyway, so I ended up in some emotional turmoil, which I couldn't personally handle, how to take care of it actually myself. So much so that I kind of went into deep depression actually. I'm alone here with my friends, no parents and no moral support which we get from family, and I felt I was the most miserable person, crying all the time and not able to come out of this. So just deep within my heart, after going through this for many months, one thing just occurred in my heart, that Bhagavad Gita has solutions to all problems in my life. I should seek out for some Bhagavad Gita. That's the only voice I heard. Then actually by the time I joined Microsoft, it's a year already, and I subscribed to a group called MS Vedic, where Vedanarayan Prabhu and Sundaranand Prabhu, they used to post everyday Bhagavad Gita verses from Srila Prabhupada. But it all went to one folder. I never paid interest because I was not looking for it. But then now, after this awakening, I looked into this folder, I looked at the verses, I was like, oh wow, these are Bhagavad Gita verses. Yes, I need to look at this Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, long story short, that helped me contact Vedanarayan Prabhu, and he actually called me on the phone and he said, "Congratulations, Mataji." I said, like, "What, Prabhuji? I'm the most miserable person in the world. I'm crying all the time. You're saying congratulations." Then he said, "Prabhuji, Mataji, it's so rare for people to seek out this knowledge these days. You know, you are coming out saying, I want to read Bhagavad Gita, you know. So you must be very special." I said, "Oh, Prabhuji, I don't understand." But anyway. And then in that conversation, Prabhuji quoted so many verses in Sanskrit. I was so amazed. This person is, I looked at, you know, his profile in Microsoft, right? He is a senior developer in Microsoft. So obviously he's working for 10 years and he's able to retain this Vedic culture. And I am like so-called Indian. I don't know even a little bit of Bhagavad Gita, what's happening. So that made me very curious. And then obviously there were sessions in Microsoft. I started joining them, and then there were Bhakti Vriksha sessions, and that's how my journey started.
Thank you, Mataji. You were our initial Bhakti Vriksha teacher, I remember. So thank you so much for sharing. So the next question is, what's your most ecstatic experience in the Hare Krishna journey so far?
Yeah, for me personally, even if I'm low, sometimes I always get nourishment from attending my Guru Maharaj's, Siddhartha Swami Maharaj's Kirtan, or him singing Jai Radha Madhava. It just melts my heart. Like, if I just sit there, close my eyes, hear him sing Jai Radha Madhava, or hear him sing the Kirtan, and like I kind of, lose the concept of where we are and just end up dancing. So much joy we get in doing that. For me, it's always the nourishing moments I have. So even recently we went to the Kartik Parikrama. So there were many people giving different types of lectures, and different Kirtaniyas were also there. So until last minute I held not dancing, because even though many Kirtaniyas were singing, everybody was dancing, I was like sitting and just seeing, okay. But then last Kirtan when Guru Maharaj sang, I couldn't hold myself sitting there anymore. So that has to be the climax of my parikrama anyway. So that's the most ecstatic experiences I have in Krishna consciousness.
Thank you for sharing, Mataji. Prabhuji?
Yeah, Prabhu, for me, the memorable, anytime, you know, the ecstatic or, you know, the memorable thing for me in Krishna consciousness is like, I have read Leelamrita like 3 times, you know, Prabhupada Leelamrita. So whenever we are in any kind of, you know, trouble or anything, you know, whether you may be confused in life, you know, like situation comes. So all we have to do is just remember Prabhupada's life.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. So Leelamrita has Prabhupada's life described and his struggles described, and he has done this mission impossible of planting the Vedic seeds outside India, which were supposed to be not done in the past, right? So good to know, Prabhu, how Prabhupada has inspired you. So thank you for sharing. And thank you for joining us on our channel. Let's say Haribol 3 times. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, boys, tell me your names.
My name is Maharati. I am 10 years old. My name is Nrsimha Krishna. I am 10 years old.
You guys look very similar. By any chance you are twins?
Yes.
You are. What's your parents' name?
Madhava Gauranga and Syamala Dasi.
Syamala Dasi, Mataji. Very nice. Tell me about your experience in the USA.
My mother used to teach us Sanskrit when we were 5 years old, from 5 years old.
Okay. In the USA? Okay. How about...
And Bhagavatam.
Yeah. Bhagavatam as well? Okay. Very nice.
And we were going to Goswami Academy devotional school in USA for 3 years.
Wow.
From
Did you enjoy?
yes,
Very nice. Now tell me about your experience in India, the education experience.
I love it so much.
How about you?
subjects, and what the subjects we want to study, and we get playtime, and on Sunday, Saturdays we go to places.
Very nice. And what's your best moment in Hare Krishna?
Listening class.
Singing class?
Listening class.
Listening classes. Ah, very nice. How about you?
Doing Govardhan Parikrama.
Wow, you like Govardhan Parikrama? Don't you get tired?
No.
Very nice. Anything else you want to share?
No.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna.